Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex and this is Rob.
Hello, podcast fans.
And we are on episode 194 now. And Rob, let's just get straight into it before we go into our stories, because we talked about it last week. I said my worry that Donald Trump could get in. I said I didn't think the establishment or the powers that be would allow it to happen. Donald Trump is president-elect. He's still got to wait till January, Rob. Anything could happen. Because that's true, actually. What if the scandal happened before January?
That's true. And also, apparently, someone say he is still due to stand trial. Apparently, now, I can't...
Are you sure? I heard a lot of the women have pulled out.
No, apparently there is one of the rape allegations has been dropped that he's due to stand trial for. However, there was an allegation of fraud that apparently he still needs to stand trial for in December.
Okay, so let's get into it then.
No,
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay, go on.
Who's to blame? And answer these seriously.
Well, if you look at the stats of the election, the white middle class, apparently, because it seems that, although saying that amazingly, and for the life of me, I can't fathom how this happened, the black American and Hispanic vote went up.
Yeah, for Trump. Trump. Down for, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think
the overall voter percentage went down.
I agree with you there, but I'm gonna say to you that I disagree with you. I don't think it's fair to blame the voter for this result. We can't blame the voter for voting who they wanted in.
No, okay, that's a fair point.
I lay the blame squarely at the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And I lay the blame at the Democratic Party because in the decision about who was going to be their candidate, they did decide that Hillary should be over Bernie Sanders. That was the first mistake.
Yeah, because I think there was a lot of people who said that she could be a risky candidate to present.
But it's not just that. It was the fact that Bernie Sanders was like Trump, but on a different side of a coin. He was also an outsider. And there are a lot of people who ended up voting for Trump who were big Bernie Sanders supporters.
But how could you go from one extreme to the other?
Because you want an outsider who's anti-establishment, right? I'll get into that in a second. I will get into that. Well, actually, I'll just say this. It was actually my mum, when I was talking to her the other day, who said this, and she was absolutely right because she spends time in America. She said, what we don't understand is, and then suddenly it made me realise, everything went click. She said, Hillary Clinton is viewed in America the same way that we see Tony Blair.
Right, okay.
Now do you understand?
That actually makes
an
incredible amount of sense.
Right, so now imagine a competition between Tony Blair, where none of us would believe a word that comes out of his mouth, and Nigel Farage, for example. You begin to understand how it could happen. So that's the first thing. So the first thing is they picked the completely wrong candidate. They picked a queen of politics, royalty, who was part of a dynasty, because the Americans have just been used to Clinton, Bush, Clinton's Bush, Clinton's Bush, and then Obama in between all that, right? But the point is they wanted something different. Bernie Sanders could have been that. But the massive mistake they made, and it's huge, and they should be ashamed of it because at the time it was obviously a ridiculous risk, was when they decided she was going to be their presidential candidate, she went for... She should have had as her running mate, her vice president, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
If she had done that, then she would have been able to just mop up all of that support. And instead, she went for whatever his name is, nice guy stepfather.
Do you know what? I've actually no idea who her running mate was.
I do know it because people keep asking me and I keep forgetting it every 2 seconds.
But in saying that just typifies what you mean.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
I'm sure he is.
Tim Kaine.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Right. So why on earth would she not have realised? Because what happened was that did kind of fatally split the Democratic Party, because a lot of people were very angry with the fact that Hillary was there. You know, there were a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters who were never convinced. Now, had it been Bernie Sanders up against Donald Trump, I think Bernie Sanders would have won. And we would be ecstatic to have...
We really would.
even, Bernie Sanders...
Because no one...
running the United States of America. But
you just can't imagine that.
Although... You could make the argument that the Americans would still prefer to appoint as their president a narcissistic sociopath over a socialist. But what?
Hence my point. I couldn't believe that. But I think if he was on the ballot with Clinton, that for me would have made her a more appealing prospect.
Absolutely. So I blame Democratic Party,
but where do we go now? That's the question.
Hang on a minute. I understand that, but no, because it is worth dissecting this. But the other thing is that I was going to play it on the podcast actually, but I won't. But Maybe we could put a link to it if I give you the link on the Facebook page. There was Michael Moore did a brilliant, because he's released this film, hadn't he, Trumpland?
Yeah, quite late into the proceedings, I believe.
But he did this meeting with loads of people in this kind of big hall where he spoke, because he's got experience of the Trump kind of voter, because those are the sort of people he grew up around and he can understand them. He gave an absolutely brilliant, almost polemic in his speech, as giving the justification for voting for Trump from the minds of the Trump voter. Right, and the way he put it, you could absolutely understand it. You know, he said that, because this what they call this Rust Belt in America, which would normally vote Democrat but fell to Trump, of places like Ohio, of places like Michigan, places like North Carolina, where they've just been wiped out, you know, where all their industry's gone, everything.
Yeah.
He pointed out that, you imagine you're living in those places, you've had everything taken away from you, right? Since this financial crisis and years before, you've had everything taken away.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump comes to your town, right, and he meets with the executives of the Ford Motor industry, and he's the first person to ever say to them, the first politician who'd ever have the guts or would ever be willing to say, and he says to them, if you move your manufacturing plant, as you're threatening to do, to Mexico, I will put a 35% tariff on you bringing cars into this country. And when you do that, nobody will buy your cars because they'll be too expensive. That is what they've been looking to hear all their lives. Somebody saying, no, we're not having the jobs go out of America. We're having them kept here. And if you don't, I'm going to slap a tariff on you, which no other president would do. Nobody would have the balls to stand up to big business like that in that way. Then suddenly this becomes a man who is your voice, who is actually, no matter whether or not he's a misogynist, no matter whether or not he says this, no matter whether or not he may or may not sexually assault women.
And whether these, the thing I struggle to believe it, these are undoubtedly empty threats. I cannot believe he has any intention. He could
disappoint a hell of a lot of people. But just like the Brexit thing, it's exactly the same Brexit phenomenon. It's a great big fuck you to the establishment. No, it's not about being sold the lies. It's about people wanting to say fuck you to the establishment. And the establishment, the political class, have not been quick to notice the trend of what's been happening for years. That as globalism has happened more and more and everybody's felt left behind, that there has been this complete disillusionment, and they need it, because the only good thing which is going to come out of this, where do we go from here? What is good that will come out of it is that I don't think it can be politics as usual anymore, in the sense that in 4 years' time, the Democratic Party can't just put up Hillary Clinton again. They've got to understand that people now want something different, and they are prepared. I think in the case of Trump, it's like what you hear from, because I've seen interviews on TV with intelligent people like you and me, Rob, sitting in a coffee shop who voted for Trump, and they've done it because even though he comes out with unbelievable stuff which they don't like, at least he speaks his mind. At least he is not. He's willing to say what needs to be said. Well, look, we can just wait and see. I mean, there's nothing else we can do about it. But it is still unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, because to me, where it becomes tawdry is on Wikipedia for this man's entry. You know, I can't think of any other American president in recent times who's already got this list of things against his name, which is like quotes. You know, like presidential quotes. Well, I just think, let's just reduce it to debate. We are talking that a reality TV star has just been elected and property tycoon. Yeah, and property tycoon. Yeah, and God knows what else. I mean, I think Obama put it very succinctly yesterday. Let's just give him a chance. Well, Obama was very gracious, no? Yeah, very much so. I don't know why he wasn't encouraging riots on the streets. But I understand about the peaceful transition of power and everything else. But the thing is with Trump is I honestly believe that he has viewed this part of it as a wrestling match. Yeah, and a wrestling match where he's prepared to do and say anything to win over his competitors. Remember, he knocked out all of the establishment Republican nominees. It's quite phenomenal what he has done. Also, right? with his vote share, he also has, by looks of it, control of the Senate as well. Yeah. But Hillary won the popular vote. Yes, I know. I think by 1 percentage point, I believe. But it's that bloody electoral college. Again, no. So 0.1, I think it was. It was something ridiculous. Yeah. But also, I think someone told me that the one state literally came down to 15 votes, which is astounding. Well, it is true to say that had the young people come out to vote more, had black people come out to vote more, had Hispanic come out to vote more, we wouldn't be in this situation. And it is surprising that, again, it didn't get the turnout. But that's the problem, I guess. Because for me, watching Hillary Clinton, I could not quite understand why she was so loathed and reviled. But as soon as I understood that people see her like Blair, they see her as fundamentally crooked, then you begin to understand.
Well, look, Alex, we may be living in a parallel universe. We can't confirm that. But in the meantime, local news is still going on. Local news is still going on, although, because obviously this is a neat sort of neat link here. Right. Bournemouth Echo, from today, Kate Wilson, Donald Trump could be one of the best presidents America's ever had, says Dorset MP. Oh, gosh.
And we're recording on the 10th, by the way. 10th of November, 2016. Dorset MP has said he thinks Donald Trump has the potential to be one of the best presidents America has ever had. Mr. Trump will be sworn in, and it's still weird to say this, as the 45th... Sorry, I just also wanted to say, from what I was saying earlier, I do think that his appointment is also a massive reaction against Obama. Because to go from something as almost an enlightened choice and progressive choice as Obama to Trump, it almost feels like all of those people who were secretly very unhappy about a black man being president, the reaction to it, because it's literally like both sides of the scale.
Yes, I agree with that. And also, I mean, if you just take away from it the fact that they may just actually hate the idea of a first female president as well.
Oh, yeah. However, during the president-elect's acceptance speech, he said Americans must now unite and bind the wounds of division, which I love. I've caused these wounds, and now we've got to heal them.
Now you need to get used to it.
Now we've got to heal them. Richard Drax, Conservative MP for South Dorset, said if Mr. Trump can do this, then one day he might go down as one of the greatest presidents America has ever had.
Can I just point out that Richard Drax sounds like he should be some sort of bad guy for a 1980s, I don't know, bank heist or something.
Speaking to the Echo, he said, I've never ever been very keen on either candidate, but I do feel America will be better off after a Trump presidency than the Clinton one. Clinton is part of the problem in American politics. She's not connected with the electorate, but is part of the Washington elite. We really should have learned our lesson with Brexit and the rise of UKIP and the SNP. People are fed up with politicians who feel they don't speak for them. It's very interesting, isn't it, Rob, that the people who are pro-Brexit, like the pro-Brexit politicians and everything, are so happy about this Trump presidency because he was very pro-Brexit as well, so they feel that now we'll be able to get some kind of favourable deal. And Nigel Farage is just on this winning streak of picking the right horse, Rob. I mean, he was over there, he spoke at one of Trump's rallies. Nigel Farage is potentially behind all of this.
I'm gonna put on the record. That man is a cunt. I'm sorry.
I admire him.
Absolutely detest him.
I admire him. I'll tell you why. Because anybody who is able to... because he's so principled. And when I say principled, I mean he has these beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And he has stuck completely by them. And I think some of them are very commendable. I'm not sure about how many of the others. But it is this absolute belief that in the idea of sovereign states, which fundamentally, I've said to you before, is something I do agree with, but I think it's mixed in with a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But you've got to admire the fact that he has got a one-man band changing the world, Rob.
I'm not sure I do have to admire this.
Look, this man survived that plane crash.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe it's the second coming.
So, well, hang on. Sorry. We are, for listeners, we are not, in any stretch of the imagination, comparing Nigel Farage to Jesus Christ. I never thought I'd have to make that clarification.
Yeah. His supporters backed him, voted for him because of these things. If he doesn't follow through on them, then his supporters will be up in arms, the MP said. He's awoken a sleeping giant and promised them he will make their lives better, which would be fantastic, as long as it's not at the expense of women, disabled people or minorities.
It will be.
This is really a non-story. So how's he going to be the best president America ever said?
Why does he feel he needs to come out and make this? He's not going to meet the guy in any way.
Well, there are comments, Rob, but I can't read them.
Okay, fair enough.